get my 6. And my 3 and my 9. Guys, here's what's going on today. I'm retracing my steps from yesterday's video. Hear a faint howl, and we've got a watcher up here giving us a warning right now. Guys, I was in these very woods yesterday making a video telling you a story about a guy who, I just halved my distance between myself and that bird, and it's still sitting there giving me a warning it's not leaving, so that's not natural. So anyways, telling a story yesterday about a guy who cried Bigfoot Sasquatch one too many times. It didn't end well for him. Many of you watched that video. I watched that video twice, which is something I rarely do, but I was seeing in the comments so many of you were claiming that I was basically being followed throughout that entire video, and you put timestamps, which I appreciate. I'm going to move through here a little slower today. We're going to go a little bit slower and take better looks in the background. I'm getting my 12 while you're getting my 6. But I realized that you may have been right. It did appear as if I was being followed pretty much throughout that video. So I've come in here today to see if we can get lightning to strike twice. I'm going to go through the same area. I'm going to go at a little bit slower pace as I'm doing already so we can get a better look. People's always asking about tracks. Look at this. Right here and right here. They don't appear to be deer tracks. We do have a lot of deer around here, but they don't appear to be very big either. But they do seem to be an anomaly, which kind of brings up a question I wanted to. Something just threw something at me. It came zooming through the forest. The leaves are still a little wet from the rain we had last night. You could hear the rewind and listen if you didn't pick that up. Something came zooming through the treetops, landed down there, and then you could hear the rain falling off the leaves. And we're in the area now. I'm going to show you that area where you folks were saying I was being followed. And having some strange light stuff going on right now. Here's my question. Was it Bigfoot Sasquatch or was it shadow people? A lot of people have mentioned shadow people. Watchers of the woods. Yep, back there. You see that? Just keep your eyes open. Seems as if we're getting some of the same sort of activity today. I had an actual story to tell you yesterday, but I'm going to be a little bit more random today because the main point of this is not to share any particular story as much as it is to get out here and see if we can get some repeated activity. And we're focusing mostly on the background. And now those of you who have been long-time subscribers know that a part of me coming out here and going blah, 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 it's part of my research methods of luring them in. It's like they want to come in and see what I'm saying or hear what I'm saying. So if you don't like that, if you think I talk too much, just hit mute, but keep watching. So that's what we're mostly interested in here is the background. And to see if I heard a knock, you might have to put your earbuds in and rewind and listen. So I'm going to answer a question for, I believe it's Kenneth from Ireland, because Kenneth has been asking this almost Kenneth is a big supporter and is always asking about my books. Where can you get my books? Well, I'm answering this because Kenneth keeps asking, but I'm bringing it up because it's also what I've been busy doing here lately. Been writing down a lot of these stories we're hearing, a lot of the events that are happening, putting together somewhat of a collection. But Kenneth, you can just go to Amazon and type in my name, Kevin Lake. They'll come up. There's a bunch of them. If you want Bigfoot Sasquatch type stuff, I'd recommend you read one called Isle of Capri. It's based on real events, some strange things my wife and I experienced in the Philippines with their version of the North American Bigfoot Sasquatch, which they call Capri. That's a good one. The others are good too, but they don't really pertain to this subject matter. But I'm working on something that does, that'll be ready very, very soon. It's actually, I've got 2 full-length novels I've been working on, one for about 3 years now. Wait a minute. I don't want to get ahead of myself here, and we want to keep watching that backdrop, especially when it appears as if there's something going behind trees. Let's sit here for a second. I know there's some brush there blocking our view, but he, she, it, or they. Oh! That's what I thought. Yeah, we have company. Get over here. I see a stump I can sit on. Let's sit here and watch back here for a second. See if we can. It's like they went behind a tree. I saw movement. I saw them duck behind a tree, and then so we stopped. And it's like they didn't want us looking. They might have come back out from behind that tree and gone elsewhere during that zap. Tell you, they fight back. They can tell when you're looking. They know when you're watching. You see it? Watch. Center. Direct center. Peeking around the tree. Keep your eyes there. Man, what's that feel like? Well, it's like a very intense yet quickly passing headache. In the past, there has been times it's made my nose bleed. Sometimes you get queasy in your belly, but it's mostly just a very intense headache. Let's see what we got going on back there. I think it, or her, or him, or they, may have moved on during that flash. Yeah, we were hearing a lot of knocks out here yesterday too, and I'm not hearing them today. Let's keep moving a little bit. What the? So anyway, what I was saying, and guys, this really is just like, there's no sort of rhyme or reason for anything I'm saying here. I'm just trying to see if we can pick anything up here following us. But I thought I heard a growl. I've put a novel I've been working on for almost 3 years now on hold to get some of these stories together, because I want to make sure we get this stuff written down. But here's an interesting story I was thinking of, because I told this story to my son a couple days ago when we were out looking at some of our trees we planted in our man-made forest. It's thick back in there, but they like to hide where it's thick. But I'm gonna see if I can get us a better angle. We have all these trees we planted 3 years ago. They're doing really good. And we have a mulberry tree that's about 12 feet high now, that's had mulberries on it the last few years. And there's something walking back there. We're gonna sit right here. There's something walking back here. So we were looking at that mulberry tree a couple days ago, and it reminded me of one of the craziest people I've never met. It just got eerily still. So keep getting my 6, and yes, you heard me correctly. One of the craziest people I've never met. It's back when I was a mailman. I was a mailman for 6 months in Charlottesville. Let me tell you folks, your mail people knows more about you than you think. You can tell a lot about people by being a mailman. It's crazy. Just little things you pick up on. Or a mail woman, male person, a male being. And I remembered this story when my son and I were looking at this mulberry tree that has little green mulberries on it. When they turn black this summer, we'll eat them. I'm hearing a light growl. You know, they call me Crazy Lake. It might be for good reason. I was followed through the forest by something yesterday, and so I come back today to do it again. Followed through the forest for a full 20 minutes, so I'm dumb enough to go back the next day. But isn't that what this is all about? Okay, so I'm delivering mail through this one neighborhood. Now, I was what's called a city carrier's assistant. Rarely did I ever have the same route twice, especially 2 days in a row. Now, in time, I would end up having the same route over and over, or not over and over as in repeatedly day after day, but once I'd been there for a couple of months, I'd been on just about every route that was there, so I'd at least had experience with that route. But I remember I was on this one route. It stands out for 2 reasons. One, because of what happened with the mulberry tree and one of the craziest people I never met. And secondly, because that might have been the first time I ever had the same route back to back. I ended up doing that route 2 days in a row. I guess the regular carrier called out 2 days in a row. That happened a lot there in Charlottesville. A lot of regular carriers, they just call it out all the time. So the assistants would get thrown out on these routes that, you know, they just weren't familiar with. So I'm on this route, going down this neighborhood. It was a walking route. I guess because I could do it. It's crazy. Well, whatever. I won't go further. Did you see that? Let's sit right here for a minute. So I'm going down the sidewalk through this neighborhood, and I get, you know, to where there's this guy had a fence and then a walkway going up to his porch. But I noticed this big mulberry tree right there by the sidewalk. Mulberries dangling down everywhere. They were ripe. Yep, I saw that too. So, oh, yep, there it goes again. Yep, look at that. Oh shit. Did you see that? Guys, I saw it running. I saw it running. Guys, something big and brown just ran through there, and it was followed by a knock. Oh man, I can't wait to rewind and watch this footage. Guys, we're having the desired effect we came for. It doesn't matter that none of my ramblings made any sense to this point. We just got what we wanted. It was big, it was brown, it was slightly larger than man size. If you saw it, put the timestamp, because I'm going to go back through this footage later. Looks like it was around 1430-ish, something like that. Whatever it was, it ran, it's gone. It followed up with a couple of knocks after it ran. Boy, this is a hot spot. This is a hot spot, but I'm not going to leave you hanging. I'm going to finish the mulberry story. Okay, so keep getting my 6. We're not out of the woods yet. The bird activity is really picking up right here. So there's all these mulberries. So I start eating the mulberries, right? So after my 5th or 6th mulberry, I kind of look up and notice the house, and I realize it's all cluttered and just like a hoarder, and it's in the middle of a really nice neighborhood. It makes no sense. It's like everybody else's house is nice, their properties look nice, but here's this unkempt property. Looks like it's inhabited by a hoarder. Stuff all over the porch. What is that white thing right in the center? So anyway, they actually had their porch blocked off with tables, and before you even got to the porch, at the end of the walkway where I was eating mulberries, there was like a table, and there was a mailbox on the table. The door wasn't on the mailbox. Guys, I see something I gotta zoom in on. Hold your thoughts on this story. All right, where did it go? This back here is where we saw that large dark figure run through the forest. Right behind me. And then we heard 2 knocks. If you see it, call out the timestamp and the location. We're not in this forest alone right now. Okay, so anyway, the mailbox is there. Yep, watch that, watch it. There's no door on the mailbox. There's a brick in the mailbox, like to hold it in place or something. And there's like a camera. So I smile and wave at the camera, of course. Eat another mulberry. Put the 3rd-class junk mail in the box. I use that stuff to start firing a wood stove. That's about all it's good for. Isn't the post office pretty much so obsolete? So anyway, hold on. Gotta get out of here. Keep getting my 6. Was it a hoot or a howl? I gotta keep getting out of here. Tell you guys, we get too close. This is the same thing that happened yesterday. It's like there's this, they don't want us down here. Oh God. Okay, so the next day I had the same route. Okay, I get back to that house. I thought, oh, this is the mulberry house. I'm gonna eat me some mulberries. I looked up, I couldn't reach them. Whoever lived in that house had come out that night and they had trimmed that tree. They had pruned it. They had clipped it to where I couldn't reach the mulberries. It's like they'd seen me eating their mulberries on the camera, and they didn't want me having any of their mulberries. That's kind of weird, isn't it? Nothing else had changed. They certainly hadn't mowed the grass. They had weeds 2.5, 3 feet tall coming up by the mailbox. I was afraid there was going to be a black snake there. But by golly, they made sure to prune their mulberry tree so the mailman couldn't eat the mulberries. But I guess, as we saw here again today, much like yesterday, when someone doesn't want you around, they'll send you subtle little messages to let you know. So Guys, thanks for being with me here for another episode of PBS S, the Potential Bigfoot Sasquatch Show.